We're going to do another mag.js tutorial. This is going to be a basic simple addition, adding two numbers in a form, and see how that goes. So I'm just at the mag.js homepage at GitHub, and I always like to start with the boilerplate, just to start from scratch. So in the example section over here, you can get a boilerplate. So that's what we're going to open up right now. All right. We're opening up the boilerplate. This is what it looks like by default, but we're gonna make something different. So why don't we start with the HTML, simple addition, and all we need is really two numbers that we're gonna collect. So let's do the first number. Let's say input name equal num1, and then we're gonna just copy that over. We're gonna have a second number, num2. Put a button here to actually execute our add, and then just something to have our result, just like that. Alright, so the HTML is pretty straightforward, so not much I think we can really do with this. All I'm doing here that's unique is we have a collection, number 1 and number 2, and a place to display the result over there. So why don't we move that away for now? And I think over here, just to show you, this is a basic mag.js module. It has a controller and a view, and there's some properties that you can pass to it if you like. The properties get sent to the controller, which is just an initializer. It's only run the first time, as well as to the view, which is run on any change to the state. And the state is basically a property map of the element matchers, such as num1 and num2 and result. So this we can add let's see, make sure we're num1 equals 2, and then say this dot num2 equals 2 as well. And you see it got filled out automatically. It's just, this is some auto wiring that we're doing right here. So like I said, this initializer, this equals to state, and you could pass props in to default the values if you like. And over here, we want to collect those values, and on buttons click, we want to show the result of that addition. So basically, we're going to say state.result equals parse int, which is our state.num1, plus parse int our state.num2. And this is going to basically take the two values here, num1 and num2, that we have present that we've defaulted, as well as anything that's added by the user, and add that value to the result, which is going to be after our sum over here. So why don't we just give that a shot right now? So we're going to go to our button, and we're going to click it. Let's go there, and we clicked it, and it said 2 plus 2 equals 4, and then it added it to our result where we wanted it to be over here. So let's try adding more numbers. There we go. What if I remove all those numbers? Now there's not a 0 here, so there's no number. Notice it didn't do anything. It kept our last value. Let me add a new value, and there it changed to that. So this is just one way to do this. Another thing we can show you here in the HTML, why don't we do this? Why don't we display the actual numbers over here, and we'll do like this, plus num2 equals our sum. XML is getting a little funky over there, I can tell. Why don't we do valid XML? Alright, num2. There we go. So now we see 2 plus 2. So it adds the numbers as many places that you put it in the element selectors. And the result, there it is over there. And why don't we show that? Now this is not on change. Remember, this is on click. Okay. So even though I'm updating it here, it hasn't added it here yet because the values haven't been populated to the state object yet. When I click it, it does. So that's something you can play with. Also the initializing, let's play with that stuff. So there's a few different ways to do this in mag.js. It's very flexible. We can always use our config to do some initializations. For instance, we don't need to add this here, but even before we get to config, here's a little trick. So instead of doing that, we can literally add our numbers here. So we can say num1 equals 2 and num2 equals 2 as a property. When we do that, we can simply merge it using mag add-ons like this. We can say our props go to this, and there you see it there. And config acts like controller in a sense, but only to that specific element matcher. So we could do the same thing basically, except instead of this, we would do it to state. This is also on load. You don't really need the controller anymore in this specific case, and it'll still show up properly. Now, if you wanted it to be on input, you can go like this. Instead of on click, on input. And this way, as you type, it should update it. But we have config here. So why don't we just move this back there? I don't want to confuse anybody. Basically, let's get rid of this for a second. I'm going to change this to on input. This basically means as you type. But here's the problem. There is no on input to the button, so we would have to actually add it to the input tag. So a simple way to do that is state that input equal, say on input function, like that. Let me see what this gives us. Okay. That will give us the actual value that's being typed, and you notice how now it's on the bottom as well. See? So it's just hooking into the onInput event. You can do a no op there. That will still work. But this is still on click, right? The actual adding. So one trick we can do is we can just do the adding up over here. So as I type, it's going to add it. That's another way to do it. The config, like I said, is on loading, so we could potentially just add everything to the input here. Now it's not doing it to the both of them, it's only doing the first one, but it kind of affects both, so let's get rid of this guy. See what happens. So you see it's working there. 2 is 5, 20 is 50. So that's just another option. Again, mag.js is very flexible and there's lots of ways to do the same thing. But that's a really simple example of adding numbers, passing properties, having initializers, having it dynamic, and showing the values in multiple places. There's another thing I'd like to show. What if I have a nested value, which happens lots of times? So is this going to work, right? So the thing that I'm not showing you right now is how is this being initialized? See, remember these are selectors, properties, especially when we're merging them into the state by default. It's a selector, so you have to make sure our selectors match up. So before num was at the top level, meaning it was accessible right here, but now we have numbers. So it's looking for numbers and then num, but there are no numbers. Why don't we create that? We can create a simple div that says class equal numbers like this. And just close that div up right here, like that. And now you can see our numbers are showing up. But you notice that they're not showing up over here, right? Let's see what happens. Now you're getting a nan. So I think the simple idea here is just simply to encapsulate them. Simply like this. And now they're showing up in both places. Oh, remember we don't have the add button happening anymore. We have it going like that. So why don't we do a few things here? And number one, the reason why you're seeing the nan is because we haven't changed it over here. See, we have to change it here to numbers and numbers. Alright, and now, there you go. Now it shows up in both places because we modified it to match our model. You know, our properties match our model, which is our HTML. They all have to work together. And this is just a really nice example of showing how that's done. You just have to make sure your matchers are aligned properly to the object hierarchy. And it's as simple as that. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial showing the flexibility of mag.js and all different things you can do with it and different ways in which you can do that. So until next time, thank you very much. That's it.